Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
We're back. I know y'all like, is this serious? Yes. So while we were on having our church/legal session earlier, there was some breaking news on Diddy that I think is worth discussing. A lot of the issues that Diddy has had with Bond and the whole world hating his guts was that video where he was seen stomping Cassie by the elevator. That is what made everyone say, we ain't really like you, but now we really, really don't like you. And so what it appears is in a letter, there was a joint letter that needed to be filed today between the government and the defense team, which basically hashes out all of the issues that you may still have. So, and the issues you agree on. So when they have their status conference, I believe that's tomorrow, the court only wants to know what you still got issues with, what you guys still can't agree on. Well, in that letter, this is what they had said, okay? This is what was said related to this video. So let me see, hold on. Let me go up here. I just had it. I was jumping on here so fast. Okay. So it's right here. It says specifically the production will, so they're saying, nevertheless, the defense will produce the material it has obtained through a Rule 17 subpoena tomorrow, even though we do not presently intend to introduce this material as part of the defense case in chief. Specifically, this production will include a subpoena response by CNN with copies of surveillance footage from the March 2016 Intercontinental Hotel incident. The defense has confirmed through a forensic video analysis of the CNN footage that the government provided to this court and of the footage provided by CNN in response to the defense subpoena that all CNN video footage was substantially altered in significant respects. This includes covering the timestamp and then changing the video sequence. So they're saying they covered the timestamps and they have rearranged the video. Like they basically spliced it, is what they're alleging. It also includes speeding up the video to make it falsely appear that the actions in the video are taking place faster than they are. As a result, the CNN videos do not fairly and accurately depict the events in question. Finally, the defense has confirmed that CNN purchased the only known copy. So CNN did purchase this allegedly. The only known copy of the hotel surveillance footage uploaded that footage into a free editing software, altered the video, and then destroyed the original footage, even though it knew about and repeatedly reported about the federal investigation. Let's go to footnote 2, because this is wild. So you know what that means. If this is a unauthenticated, spliced up, altered video, that's inadmissible. And if there is no original video of what happened, that is the evidence that you're supposed to be able to present. They're not going to be able to get this in. It's going to be very, very different. I don't know how they would get this in. I don't know how they would get this in if they don't have. That is not reaching for straws at all. When it comes, and this is one of the things I was telling you guys, that just because we see stuff out here, that's why a lot of the celebrities, they'll try to win in public opinion. And I say all the time, just because we see certain things does not necessarily mean it's going to be admissible in court. I say that all the time. So what they're saying is, so this altered video, if it is altered and the forensics has shown that it is altered, and basically it sounds like CNN in response to a subpoena said they put it in their editing software, which means that it was edited and there's no original and the original was destroyed. How's this going to get entered? He's not accused of his. I think this was used more so to show dominance and control of the ex-trafficking allegation. He's not, his indictment has nothing to do with actually physically beating her. Okay. And I said that over and over again. However, it does show when you have like trafficking, the control, how you made people submit to you or whatnot. That would be probably what it would be used for. And yeah, this is crazy. Why did they destroy it? That is the question. What in the world would make you think that's okay to just destroy the original? So how did they send it to you? Was it on because if it was on a junk drive or something, what did you do? Throw the junk drive in the garbage? If they emailed it to you, what did you do? Like permanently delete it from your email? Why would you even destroy? I edit a lot of videos. But if I, cut them up and put them on Instagram or whatever, but I always still have the original. That is crazy. That's the $1 million question. You think guilt? So Ashley, this civil lawsuits are not about guilt or innocence. There's about whether you're liable or not liable. And that has nothing to do. Did it start the investigation? I believe it did, because most of the indictment has to do with her. We've heard and see, the civil lawsuits are starting to look like farces too. Like I talked about that in my membership. What do you mean, Pam? I mean that these lawsuits are getting crazier and crazier. And if you see that I don't discuss every single lawsuit that comes from certain attorneys, it's because I know that they're starting to get so far-fetched that how are we even going to prove any of this? And as you see, one of the latest lawsuits basically has Jaguar Wright involved, and she was in jail. And yes, there is evidence. You can do a Freedom of Information Act request. If you look it up, it will show Jaguar Wright was released on like January 18th of that year. However, that's because she was transferred to Cook County. That's her admission date to Cook County. She did not leave till April of that same year. But all of this stuff that they're alleging in this lawsuit was in March of that same year. So that's what I'm saying. The thing with Jay-Z, with the lady, now it's audio of her basically saying Jay-Z didn't do anything. They already dismissed with that with prejudice. Adria English, she had an attorney prior to, and then she finally got an attorney that represented her, that's representing her now. And now that attorney has just filed a motion to withdraw. Diddy's attorneys have filed several motions to dismiss on a lot of these cases. I've discussed that, like I said, in my membership. So a lot of this stuff is just falling apart, is what it's looking like. I don't know if because they were looking at the media and how the media was portraying everything, that they thought they had more on Diddy than what they had. I don't know. But we know they've superseded the indictment twice, and they did not add more people. They did not add anything like that. The only thing they added was additional overt acts, or they corrected and added a couple of more extra lines. So their superseding was almost like they amended it to correct some stuff or to add some stuff. So to see how this plays out is going to be very, very interesting. Like I said before, you know, I've been mad at Diddy since the cheesecake. If you guys follow me, you guys know. To me, he showed he has a temper on television. When he got into it with Lorianne Gibson, I think it's her name, I think he's shown himself and who, you know, like he's shown himself. And I think some people, unfortunately, were willing to put up with the BS to be in his presence. And I think they were willing to put up with the BS just to be a part of. He's a gatekeeper at that time for the music industry for whatever reason. It's just my opinion. Some people were willing to put up with and do certain things because of who he was. And I think a lot of celebrities, they have that happens. So to see how this plays out, when most of the people, a lot of people can't stand Diddy more so based on how he treated Cassie. Because these other lawsuits, we're like, and a lot of them, they're a little bit far-fetched. But the Cassie, I don't think it's too many people that felt like Cassie was just out here making stuff up, because she threw names in there. She had people come back and corroborate the names she put in there that this really happened and all of that, including cars catching on fire and all type of stuff. So I was just watching your video on the YouTube, Pastor, but had to switch over when I saw it in live airing. All right, make sure you hit that later, okay? Just, you know, we glad you over here participating. So we about to see. Course correction said this is going to be a different case than people expect, much more narrow, not as much salacious facts or celebrity. But that's the age that we're in. When we were younger, we had like the National Enquirer, where we seen on magazines or whatever, we seen this type of stuff. But now it's just at our fingertips. It's on our phone. You know, people just do videos. They'll do clickbait. They'll turn things they don't know about into something that it really isn't. So it is where it's going to be very interesting if he starts getting these civil cases dismissed. And again, he has acknowledged that he obviously kicked her, because he said he apologized. He's been to counseling and all of that. So there was some type of violence that was there. But if they cut it up where you don't really know, because they're saying this is connected to the freak offs, right? So what if this had nothing to do with the freak off at all? It was just he was a butthole and he was doing that. So how are you going to be able to connect that to that, is what I'm saying. But I think the government wanted that in because it makes them look horrible. Like if you listen to when he did his first bond hearing, that judge kept talking about that video. It was awful. So yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Yeah, remember the National Enquirer at the supermarket? Yes. Has CNN issued a statement on whether or not they destroyed the original? So this is allegedly in a subpoena. So what happens is when you subpoena someone, if you don't have the original, you have to basically say whether you have it or not. You have to respond not only in just producing, but you have to either object to it for whatever reasons or say you don't have it and give the reason why. So I'm going to read it over again so we'll know exactly what is alleged in this subpoena. So tomorrow, they say they are going to produce let me see. So they say tomorrow, this production will include a subpoena response by CNN with copies of surveillance footage from the March 2016 Intercontinental Hotel incident. The defense has confirmed through a forensic video analysis of the CNN footage that the government provided to this court and of the footage provided by CNN in response to the defense's subpoena, that all CNN video footage was substantially altered in significant respects. This includes covering the timestamp and then changing the video sequence. It also includes speeding up the video to make it falsely appear that the actions in the video are taking place faster than they are. As a result, the CNN videos do not fairly and accurately depict the events in question. Finally, the defense has confirmed that CNN purchased the only known copy of the hotel surveillance footage, uploaded that footage into a free editing software, altered the video, and then destroyed the original footage, even though it knew about and repeatedly reported about the federal investigation. This will all be the subject of an upcoming motion in limine regarding the CNN-derived footage. We will be disclosing the subpoenaed material to the government, so it will be prepared to respond to the defense motion on the subject. So if you guys know what a motion in limine is, it's to try to get evidentiary rulings prior to trial. So we filed motions to try to mainly get things excluded, get rulings on the court excluding it before the trial. So we may see a motion in limine. You can also ask to get things included as well. But that means that they're going to file a motion in limine, which we going to go over. And because we get to see the response from the government, and they're going to try to, in that motion, exclude into evidence the CNN footage. Because what they did, it sounds like they got the video from the government, who said they got the video from CNN. Remember, it was the big thing on how they got the video footage and all of that. And so they subpoenaed directly from CNN as well, which was smart, so that they can make sure they both have the same video. And they had a forensic expert look at both videos. This is according to them. And both videos basically were the same from CNN, and it showed that they were altered according to them. So that is what's the latest on Diddy. Y'all got any questions? Any questions? Because we was just on here for an hour and a half. Whoever sold it has the copy. The original will resurface. That's from Bama Peach. That is true. The original can resurface. They might want to put a nice reward out. I might go find it for the right amount. I'll go find the footage. You know, I'm a good finder. I'm a good hide and seeker. Hey, Miss McDonald, good to see you. Yeah, remember the National Inquirer? Okay, that's the same one. I already read it. But that's it, y'all. That is it. That is the Diddy news. So I did see, I think the letter was just filed while we were on doing the previous video, because it wasn't there when I first came on, because I checked Diddy stuff, because usually I'll post documents that are in his case and put them on my wall in the membership. So they weren't there. So that happened while we were on. And then I also see now the Shade Room is talking about it. So yeah. And then I see TMZ. They got a video now where they're talking about it. So I don't know who Kirk Burrow is. Who is that? Enlighten me on Kirk Burrow. Let me look him up. Who is that? He connected with Diddy, a former president and co-founder partner of Bad Boys Records. In the mid-90s, he worked with Sean P. Diddy Combs during this time running the label. Diddy's mom sued for allegedly seizing Bad Boy Entertainment from Kirk Burrow. Is that what you're talking about? You said all women. We all are private investigators in the DNA. I swear I remember someone reporting that Cassie said that after that incident, she left the hotel but came back because she knew Diddy would be mad that she left, and the hotel gave her the video. That's why I'm saying we don't know. We really don't know what to believe out here. Everyone's trying to get their 15 minutes of fame. Everybody knows something that someone else didn't do. When it comes to these videos, everyone wants to give information like they have more than the next YouTuber. So who knows? I think the motion in limine is going to be very interesting to see when they try to exclude it as not being it can't be authenticated. You know, before anything is entered in, it should be authenticated that it's the original. And then you have the government is going to respond. So maybe they're going to respond that their forensic person said that it is the original. Maybe their forensic person is going to say the opposite, or that it wasn't spliced to the point it just was editing out dead areas. You know how you have a video and if it was over a long stretch of time, they just cut out the blank dead areas or something, 10, 15 minutes, but then it would still leave the argument of it was stuff in that video where it was more information that would be more exculpatory or beneficial to Diddy. So I don't know. I just know from an evidentiary standpoint, that a spliced and altered video ain't gonna cut it. Now, sometimes you have demonstrative evidence, but so like for instance, in trials, you may have video footage and you really don't plan on showing the whole video, but you admit the entire video and you may show the portions that you want to actually have during trial, but you enter in the entire video and it's after you've established the foundation and who recorded it and has it been changed or altered in any way. Those are questions that you ask before you can even admit it into evidence. So this is getting interesting. You said you're gonna be shocked. Am I, Kelsey? What you know? What I'm gonna be shocked about? Breezy said, even if it was altered, you can't make someone run down the hallway and kick someone. Okay, but if it's not into evidence, is the point. It's not. This is the problem with social media. The problem with social media is we see things that a jury is not going to necessarily be able to even consider. So even if all the people on the jury, they say, have you seen the video of Cassie? Any videos of Cassie? Probably a lot of people have seen it. And it's not admissible. First of all, that might be a reason to get them up off the jury. But nonetheless, if they don't and they say they can be unbiased and all of that, then they're not going to consider that video. So I get what you're saying, like from out here. I'm talking about what is going to be a part of his guilt or innocence. The assessment of his guilt and innocence may not include that video unless, again, his attorneys, sometimes they be exaggerating a little bit. They interpret things in, interesting ways, as for their client. So maybe the government got a whole nother whammy or something that we don't know about. Maybe somebody done slid the government another video. I don't know. But what I'm saying is what I want you guys to know, and this is, again, the problem with social media, is that just because we see stuff, I said that with the TD Jakes case. I said, now what if his attorney is able to put in a motion in limine and exclude as being more prejudicial than probative the man who TD Jakes has sued for defamation, his history. Half of Jake's responses and his complaint talks all about this man's history. Now, what if that's not even included for a jury about his prior asset, him going to prison for messing with boys and all of that? What if that's not like something that the court allows? And they just got to do your word against his word on what happened. This is the mindset that I was trying to get you guys to see. We see way more on the internet than what a jury is going to be able to consider when they're in that room. That's all. That's it. But again, this is the defense's side. We don't know. The government may have something up their sleeve. They may find some laws from 1925 that's going to allow them to get it admitted. We don't know. They may find some ways based on the statute or something that allow them to have some cut up video. I don't know. We'll see. But if anybody got the manpower to figure out how to fight it, it would be the government. If it was in Boston, you could admit it, sped up, spliced backward. It's all good. Really? So I assume that happened in the Karen Reed case. Okay. Yeah, no, that's not how it's supposed to happen. You should literally, because if that's the case, to admit it, you would have to have someone, before you enter a picture, You have to say, what I am showing you is a picture of a tree. Do you recognize that tree? Yes. Is that the tree in the same or substantially the same condition as it was when you saw that tree? Yes. Are you the one that took the picture of that tree? Yeah. Did you alter it in any way? No. Did you ever move the color to the left, move the slider to the right? No. Is this the original? Yes. Your Honor, I move to admit exhibit number 1, the photograph of the tree. They don't just admit things that are, and AI is so dangerous too now, because literally people can take your voice, and that's why you got to watch picking up spam calls. They taking voices and they're having you say whatever they want to be said. Wouldn't shock me if in the Jay-Z case she tried to allege it was some type of AI or something. It wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me. Because that's what Whitehead said when they came up with that. They showed that video of Whitehead basically threatening that man. He was like, they said, is that your voice? I don't even know. That could be AI. I was like, I know y'all didn't practice that. You couldn't have practiced that. You couldn't have practiced that response. Yeah. Is it possible that Diddy attorney creates fake cases that have them thrown out to show that he is falsely accused? Anything's possible, but it seems a very expensive hoax. Very expensive, because you got attorneys on both sides. So you're saying he's able to get an attorney. Now we know Ariel Mitchell, he sued her for defamation, so he ain't happy with her. So whatever she done filed, I would assume, Gloria Allred has a case against him. Busby, we see Busby going and tuggling with Jay-Z. So if I were to guess, it may be, anything's possible, probable. I would say probably not. But I get people are saying that sort of starts steering, like, oh, if that's fake, then all of those are fake. I just think a lot of these attorneys, when they seen Diddy was indicted and they seen how much money and how fast Cassie got her money, people were like, me too. Me too. We're in the Me Too age. So they were like, me too. And I think that's what ended up happening. So, but. And you can cut out 42 minutes of Sally Port video and the judge says move on. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, that's appealable. Those sound like appealable issues. You can't. I go to Walmart and shoplift. I watch those videos on YouTube and the camera catches my 4-hour shoplifting spree. They cannot speed up the video to show the crime. You can, but you should have the original. Why do I have to, as a defense attorney, why would I believe you as the government that all you did was speed it up or cut out spaces? You can enter that in for sake of completion, or enter that in to speed up the time and agree to it, but there needs to be an original so I know what you're saying is accurate. I'm not going to, as a person that has to defend my client's freedom, I am not going to take your word for it that all you did was speed it up for the sake of time. I'm going to pound on tables and I'm going to say this is a farce and this is a ruse, and they're trying to win by any means necessary, and they care more about prosecuting than actual justice. And I should be able to review. I don't care if I got to sit there as an attorney for 5 hours and watch a blank screen. I should be able to sit there to be able to confidently tell my client, this is the video. Because obviously my client was there, so he knows exactly what happened. Or she knows exactly what happened. But I need to say, okay, I watched. It don't look like they really did much, so it doesn't, they're trying to save time or whatever. But there should be an original to compare it to. I don't have to believe. Diddy has always argued the sequence of it. His attorneys argued it before they had the video. They argued that the sequence was off on how it was being presented. But I think it was even before they had the video. I think so. Obviously, their client told them it ain't even happened like that. Yeah, I did end up kicking her, but it was more to it. She did this. And remember, they said she had done something to him at some point and all of that. So his attorneys were always arguing that. They just probably didn't have the actual tape. So you guys recall, once they got the tape, they tried to go back to court and present this to the judge as a reason to allow bond. And the judge still was like, even with information from the actual tape, well, obviously the judge didn't have the original then. The judge must have just had whatever CNN had, because they bought the only copy, allegedly. So yeah. But that was part of why he didn't get bond. And I guess Diddy said, I ain't about to keep paying y'all to prepare. He probably was getting hit with all those invoices. But I would be curious to know the guy Rico, who just withdrew out the case, why he said he could no longer do anything with this case. I think that's interesting. And he said it was regretful because he must have believed that they could win the case, because he definitely said he did it. He did it regretfully, which means maybe they were trying to go a course that he didn't want to go, or felt like ethically he couldn't go, or whatever. I don't know. He didn't agree with the defense, is what it sounds like. Relly said it was AI. Course correction, they always say it's AI. That's the new thing. And the sad part is we dang near don't know the difference anymore. At first it was funny, right? So like when I first started hearing that as an excuse in court, it was funny. Then it was like, you know what? I started seeing some people doing AI and it was scary. It was no longer funny. I was like, this is kind of scary. That does sound like me. Like that, it's scary. So yeah, it's going to be another. So now when videotapes are entered, you almost have to always get a forensic person, right? Because now you got to have someone that's willing to authenticate whatever it is, whether it's downloaded. They have one of the cases that TD Jakes has is against some unknown YouTubers because they were in other countries. So he's trying to get their information. All their videos were AI. So all of those pictures they had of him, like next to Diddy and compromising positions and all of that, he filed a lawsuit in California trying to be able to subpoena them. They were all AI. They were all deepfake. What Milagro is going through right now is being accused of promoting a deepfake video. She didn't actually prepare the video. She didn't have to do the video or none of that. She just told people, I guess, to go comment or like or do something. Maybe so the issue was going to be, did she promote it? So yeah, the AI is out of hand. It's out of hand. And so I think it is going to cause a whole lot of lawsuits. So y'all heard R. Kelly remix to Residuals. He said, who getting this check? That's what he said. I did hear R. Kelly on there. To say you have a collect call is diabolical. And you just go ahead and you start singing. You have a collect call from Kels. GC said, why did he settle? I'm assuming and correct me if I'm wrong, you're talking about Cassie. Again, that's a civil case. This is criminal. The civil case is a lower bar. I assume he settled because he knows they had a jacked up relationship and he's done some jacked up things to her. Does that rise to the level of criminality as far as trafficking, like they're saying? Or was it that what his attorneys are arguing is they was both freaky and they let people in their room? They let people in their bedroom. That's what their argument is. So, and I want to be clear. There are a lot of people that settle lawsuits not because they're saying they did it. In fact, any settlement agreement, I can guarantee you if it could be released, which I know it can't, Diddy probably said in there he's not admitting guilt. He just feels like this is a resolution to get this over with. When this lawsuit got filed, the whole internet was just on fire. Everybody was talking about it. It was the biggest thing that was going, and it was no way to quell this. So before he even answered, he didn't even want this to even go on past 24 hours. He said, whatever she won't, give it to her. And now I believe it's been stricken from the docket. That is part of it. I think it's under seal. So you can't, if you didn't get it before, I don't think you can go back and get it anymore. But then after that, you had all these women that was like, Cassie is my strength and my shield. Now that she did it, I think that I can do it. So then you had all these people after the fact. I said I want to know where all this money was coming from, because you got 50 lawsuits. After a while, the money's going to dry up. Even if he had insurance, I'm sure if the insurance had anything to do with Cassie's lawsuit, they probably dropped him. They probably was like, yeah, no. Because car accident, car insurance does that to you. Homeowners does it to you. Like, they like, next year, we're not going to insure you. Okay. You actually want to cash in on what you've been paying for years? Oh, no. So, yeah. But every time someone settles, they'll say they're not admitting any type of liability. Typically, it's very rare. I've never seen it where they admit it. They could be wrong as two left shoes, and we know it, and we pulled it out. Because their reasoning for settling a lot of the times is because I got evidence that you're going to be found liable in front of a jury. So why not cut my loss, pay you a couple of dollars, because I'm going to have to pay this guy $1 million in attorney fees. I just give you $500,000 in a settlement, and then I come out and I do a cost benefit analysis, and that's the best outcome for me. People start doing cost benefit analysis when you have money. So in the grand scheme of things, do you believe the federal government needs that Cassie video, especially if Cassie testifies? I know Cross will be brutal, but a crying Cassie testifying gold, in my opinion. I agree with you, Gemini Jim. I think she'll be a good, because look at her life. You went from enduring all of this for 9 years, but again, she is going to be susceptible to exposure, right? So on Cross, he's probably got text messages of her wanting to marry him. Probably got text messages of her wanting to have the babies. May have text messages where she's admitted to doing some things. May have text messages. We don't know. They have a 9-year relationship. I'm sure it's some stuff on both sides. And yes, she will be susceptible to cross-examination. But if she can hold up, yes, her testimony is gold. I agree with that. I think her tears and her reliving it. And even though she was an adult, she was 19. How many of you remember when you were 19 or have kids that are 19? You wouldn't want them to go out and be on their own. You're like, you're not ready for this here world. No. So the fact that he basically raised her if she was 19 into her whole adulthood, so yeah, I agree. It won't take away her actual physical testimony, but you have to admit that video made you mad. And the same reaction that the public gave is what they would want a jury to be like. You might actually get physical gasps out of a jury if they saw that video. They'd be like, shoot, I don't know if he did all that, but he did something. Guilty. So that was one of the biggest hurdles that the defense had, or felt like they had, because they believe a lot of these tapes are showing consensual encounters. These tapes are showing consent. I can't imagine being the attorney have to watch all these ratchet videos, but that's part of your job, and they're getting paid for that. Like, you got to go see your client after you just seen him booty butt naked on all these videos. It's like, Hey, West Side Story, good to see you. I would took her to court and pay less than $30 million. That's from Queen Keish. I think the defendant Celebrity B in the Diddy Jay-Z case is settled. You think so? Course correction. So you think that Busby reached out to Celebrity B and they was like, don't put my name in it. What do you want? You think that's what had happened? Possibility. That's apparently Busby said when he was doing his press conferences. He actually did say that some people have settled and he's given them the opportunity to settle, and they did. He did acknowledge that some people have. So they may have. You may be right. But we'll never know because they settled, and I'm sure it was a big, tough NDA in there where you can't say nothing. Can't say not a thing. And speaking of Busby, see, here I go, being on longer than I said I was. Speaking of Busby, he actually there was another which I found, which was in my membership too. Busby on some of those other cases, of course, the courts aren't very happy because they want to know why you had all these issues weeks before and you haven't brought it up to the judge, you know, that you're filing pleadings and you're not admitted to practice in the Southern District. So Busby has that issue again in another case. That's why I said I'm not trying to be, I'm trying to be as, neutral as possible. But Diddy is like doing pretty well in these civil cases thus far. That's what I can say. He's like, if he starts getting these cases dismissed, it's going to be interesting the next courses of action on a lot of these attorneys. Because Diddy is suing people, like he sued the people that did the documentary. He sued that Courtney Burgess that alleged there was a videotape, because you guys got to think of it like this. Remember, Courtney Burgess said he had actual videos of Diddy and allegedly with minors. Well, of course, and he testified in front of the grand jury, which means that if he had this tape, he would have had to, by law, turn it over. I would assume that if it was tapes with him with some minors, it would have went over to the feds, right? Because he was subpoenaed to testify in front of the grand jury. So you're going around saying he was with minors. You have your lawyer next to you on some of these platforms, and you're in front of the grand jury, but the feds haven't turned over any tapes that has to do with any minors that came from you. So Diddy sued her, and she's went on a couple documentaries. So he sued her for defamation. He's also sued the different networks that have been doing. So Diddy got some money because all of this you're fighting. You're in the defensive. Now he's trying to flip it to be in the offensive where he's suing people. And it wouldn't shock me, just like Jay-Z, from what I heard, he wanted to come after some YouTubers that were clickbaiting and saying things that weren't true. And Diddy probably is going to come after some people that are recklessly reporting. Don't ever let your emotions get you a lawsuit. I can say I personally don't like him, but you don't have to say the problem is because people don't like him, they want to believe everything salacious and horrible about him, and they report it in a way that's a matter of fact instead of an opinion. When you post things as a matter of fact instead of opinion, then you've subjected yourself to defamation. And I get it. YouTube is a different form of media, but it's still media. We're on social media. It can be disseminated all over the world, just like journalists. Journalists do have certain ethical obligations. A lot of people actually go to school for journalism. Obviously, we don't have to go to school for YouTube. So that's why they be putting us down here like, you're just a YouTuber. But yeah, what's getting a lot of people in trouble is the matter of fact that you're saying things. No, this is her testimony. This is it. Listen, I still stick to it. I don't like you from when you was making them people walk that bridge on it. And I had the right to my opinion. It wouldn't have been me. The only way I would have walked is to the little subway or wherever would have took me to the airport, because I would have went back home. But that's why I would have never been an artist back then. It would have never worked out for me. Because you're not just going to treat me any old kind of way. It's not going to work. Ask Tasha K how that worked out. Listen, Tasha learned her lesson. Tasha K has one of the best defamation First Amendment law firms in the country. One of the best and the biggest. I mean, her lawyers, the law firm, we talked about the TD Jakes case, and it was about the anti-SLAPP statute that is over there in Pennsylvania. The lawyers that represent Tasha K now, because she had Olga, who had never done civil ever. To get someone who has never done civil at all to represent you. She must have really liked Olga. But and Olga primarily did criminal, so she must have really liked Olga. But nonetheless, because I don't think it would have been as bad as it was if she had her attorney she got right now. She might have skated a little bit. She definitely wouldn't have been paying no $4 million. Part of that was Olga just ain't know what she was doing. But anyways, the statute, the anti-slap over in Pennsylvania, I believe was drafted by the law firm that represents Tasha now. So Tasha be watching herself now. So I think she might have learned her lesson somewhat. She learned an expensive lesson. Yes, TD will. That's exactly what, a very expensive lesson, where now she did go into bankruptcy. For those of you that don't know, the bankruptcy plan was approved. So over 5 years, she pays like 1 point something million dollars to Cardi. However, they did not discharge the rest of it. Typically, when you do a restructuring, that you have to be able to do your plan within 5 years. Well, apparently in some unprecedented way, I don't know, I don't do bankruptcy, but from what I've heard, is that I guess Cardi can still, I guess she can still, if she wants to, try to get the rest of it even after the 5 years. But nonetheless, it puts Tasha, it's good for her, because now she's in a payment plan. She can get out here and work. She ain't got to worry about Cardi trying to garnish whatever she has. She can structure her life in a way where if she makes money, maybe her money will go straight to a retirement that's for her kid. Maybe her money will go to, she can structure her way and she can structure her financial life in a way where it's not over her head. But yeah, that was a very expensive lesson. It really was. And I think now, like, I've seen her, like, just recently, she apologized to Clarissa Shields when she got her cease and desist. So now what she can do is she has attorneys on deck, where even maybe before she even does some stories, she tries to talk to them and get some type of clearance. Like, is this okay? Or some of her thumbnails, I've seen her change some titles to some of them, because you want to make sure people want to come in, so it's clickbaity, but you don't want it to be defamation. And then, like, so when she has an attorney that's on deck that can guide her. And I think a lot of, when you get to a certain level, that's very smart to do. Very smart. Where they can see, like, yeah, that's cool. No, you might want to tweak that a little bit. Oh yeah, you might want to go ahead and apologize. That might be what you do. Go ahead and apologize and retract that statement. So, Tasha has to submit all her financial documents to Cardi and has to increase her payments if and when her revenue increase. Hence why she submits the docs, because she's untrustworthy. That's from Andrea. Okay, I'm gonna take your word for it, because I haven't looked into it like that. Manuel said, altered or not, the world still got a pretty good gist of just how badly that man treated that girl. Doesn't matter if it was altered or not. It let the world see that man for who he really is. And I agree with that. And I think from a public perspective, will he ever be on top like he was again? He obviously has money, and he had a lot to go, a lot to blow through. So he may not be broke. It's gonna hurt his pockets. There's no way you're paying all these lawyers and you're paying. Yeah, you're gonna feel it. However, will he be broke? No, not. I mean, maybe for a billionaire broke. He was a billionaire at one point, wasn't he? So maybe in his world it may be like that. But now this is probably going to affect endorsements. Is going to affect if people want to work with him, because a lot of his money also comes from people working with him, producing with him, artists wanting to deal with him. So who's going to be the first artist to be like, after you hear people like Don Rashard saying they couldn't eat for 3 days and they was dehydrated and all the stuff that she was saying. I don't know if she said 3 days, but she did say they would go hours and not eat. So after you hear that, are you gonna want to work with him? You said Diddy is done. No money or not. That's from forever. For always, for life. Manuel said no, never. I don't think he'll ever recover and be quite back up on top where he used to be, not now that everybody sees him the way he is. I think what he'll do is like still live a decent, cushy life, but he's gonna have to recover from this. But he may have to like go off in the sunset. Like he may have to kind of disappear if he actually beats this and comes out from under this. Like if he actually, but if he beats this trial and they beat the feds who have like a 98% success rate, I know people that have one criminal federal trial, so it's not impossible. But if he actually does win, just imagine if he wins and he gets to walk out, he gets acquitted and he gets to walk out that press conference he gonna do. Just imagine all the people he about to drag that he gonna say turn their back on them and turn their back on the family and the kids and stuff. It's about to be a mess. So yeah. You said Chris Brown. Remember Chris Brown stepped away for a minute after his allegation with Rihanna. That was a little minute too. So yeah. All right, y'all. My family said they hungry, so I gotta go. You know, I could chit chat with y'all all day, but that was the breaking news that I ended up being on for a whole nother hour. Guys, make sure you hit the like button if you have not done so already. Diddy's attorneys, if you just came in, they basically filed a letter and they're saying tomorrow, I guess, when they have their conference, they're going to turn over information, subpoenas of which they can show. I guess CNN had altered, spliced, and sped up video, and there's no original. Very interesting turn of events. Until next time, I'm going to holler at you guys later, like for real in real life. I don't think I'm going to come back, but make sure your notifications is on because I just might. Who knows?